We're all here to learn. But what does it mean to learn? We learn in school, we learn in university, we learn in our job, but at the end, learning, knowledge, experience is only important if we understand that it is a part, and sometimes a small part, of reality. Otherwise, what is it? It's a dogma. It's a certitude. It becomes a habit. And then it becomes a limitation for action. It means that very often when we have a big dream, a big goal, and we speak about it to other people, we hear the others telling us it's impossible. And we ask them, but why is it impossible? And the answer is almost always the same, because nobody has done it before. And this is the most ridiculous answer we can ever get, because it should be the opposite, exactly the opposite. It's precisely because nobody did it before that we have to try. Otherwise, it will always remain impossible. So if we want to achieve our dreams, our goals, our targets, our objectives, we have to identify in everything we have learned what is useful and what is a limitation. I will give you a couple of examples. When I wanted to fly around the world in a solar-powered airplane with absolutely no fuel, the world of aviation thought it was impossible. Why that? Why that? It took them 5 minutes to calculate that there was not enough energy coming from the sun to power an airplane fully electric day and night. Okay, this is true. I accept it. But if you cannot increase the power of the sun, you have to decrease the consumption of energy of the plane. And this is what no airplane manufacturer understood. And they never had the idea of that. They just had their paradigm, their dogma, and they thought it was the only reality. There was another reality. And this other reality was to make an airplane that was so big in wingspan, so light in weight, and so energy efficient that the sun was enough to fly day and night. So you see, in the beginning, we felt a little bit like Dumbo. You know this poor little elephant in the Walt Disney cartoons with ears that were so big that they were trailing on the floor and everybody was making fun of him. This is something we have to accept. You were talking this morning about your failures. You know how difficult it can be to feel miserable. But in those moments, we have to remember always a sentence that I told to the team every week and to myself every morning during 15 years. If it was easy, somebody else would have done it. So you have to see outside of what you have learned, what can help you. Dumbo deployed his ears to fly. And because of his handicap, because of his problem, he became the hero of the circus. So we had to do the same. We had to deploy our wings. And because the world of aviation believed it was impossible, we had to find people to help us who did not know it was impossible. And who was that? A shipyard. People building boats, ships, racing ships, like the one who won the America's Cup twice for Switzerland. So we went to see them and said, we want you to build our airplane. And they said, of course we can do it. We can make your plane as light as you want. We know how to use carbon fiber. But we cannot work with your team who has no idea how to use carbon fiber. So then we went back to the team and they said, are you crazy or what? You cannot work with a shipyard who has never built an airplane. And that was Audrey's task, to bring the two together and make the 1 + 1 = 3. If you put only people together who think alike and act alike, it's 1 and 1 = 1. It's useless. If they fight together, it's 1 and 1 = 0. But if you put people who act and have completely different experiences, then it's 1 and 1 = 3. We had a shipyard who had never built a plane, our team who did not know how to use carbon fiber, And at the end, we had an experience that allowed us to build that revolutionary airplane. For the funding, you all know what it is as a hassle to find the funding for big experimental and crazy things. Well, in this case, of course, the world of aviation declined completely. And I think I made a mistake with the benefit of hindsight. I think I should have put for free, the name of all the airlines and all the airplane constructors on the wings of Solar Impulse, and they would have paid me a fortune to remove their name because they were so afraid I would crash and make bad publicity for them. So who supported us? People who were completely outside of the world of aviation, completely outside of the world of energy. That means people who had nothing to do with my dream. People from the insurance business, watches, elevators, industry, telecommunications, well, champagnes, but that, I have to say, was more for the team than for the plane. So what is the conclusion of all this? It's the fact that it was never the people selling the best candles who invented the light bulb. It's completely other people. Even in the automotive industry, the first successful electric car was made by somebody who had no idea how to make a car. He was a billionaire from the world of internet. He took what he knew, computer screen, and built the Tesla around it. And now you have a lot of people who are making good electric cars, but there needed to be a pioneer. So you see that innovation doesn't come so much when you have a new idea. Innovation comes when you throw away an old belief. Remember that. Innovation does not come always when you have a new idea. It comes when you get rid of an old belief. Which means that if you are in a crisis, or if you want to be creative, the goal is not to have more. Sometimes the goal is to have less. Just to have an empty mind, an empty heart that will allow you to put in something completely new. So it's not only knowledge, it's not only expertise, it is this openness to creativity. The fact that we know that out of everything we have learned, there is so much more that can help us. In other words, we have to stop to think in one direction. This is the way we are taught. We want to avoid doubts, avoid question marks, avoid the unknown. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of the uncertainty. So very often people learn to think in a straight line toward their goal. But when there is an obstacle, they are lost. They crash. And then they think, why is life so bad with me? Instead of asking, why am I not ready for life? We have to think in every direction, which means that we have to be pioneers, of course, to open new roads, but we need to be explorers because we do not know which road will lead us to our goal. We do not know. And this is where we might fail. We might fail because we will take the wrong road. But as you talked this morning, the worst is not to fail. The worst is not to try. When you don't try, you will never fail, but you will never succeed. So finally, failure is just a step to success. And success comes when you try one more time than the number of failures, basically. So try in every direction. Fortunately, this is the way I was raised, because my father, my grandfather were also explorers, and they allowed me to ask questions all the time. And they never told me, it's like this, you have to accept it, stop to ask questions. No, so I was a hassle for my teachers at school, because I never accepted to do anything if I did not understand why I had to do it, why I had to think like that. So it creates a lot of curiosity, because you have what the topic of school is giving you, and then you have everything else. And I think the best answer to give to someone who asks a question when you don't know what to answer is to say, I don't know, maybe a lot of people don't know, but maybe you will discover it. It means that you will create the mindset of pioneers, the mindset of explorers, just by having the curiosity to look beyond the obvious, beyond what we know, beyond what has been achieved in the past. And if we do like this, life is going to be like a firework. A firework. It's going to be a future in 3 dimensions. For every way to think and every way to behave, there is one line that brings you somewhere in your life. You vote left or you vote right. The line goes in another direction for you. You support Palestine or you support Israel. Each time it's another line. You put sanctions against Russia or you support Russia. It's another line. So you see that you prepare your life in all the possible options. And before you decide to vote left or to vote right, to support this country or this other country, you have to be open to all the possibilities. You have to see the big picture. Where can you go in life? Where is every mindset leading you to? And then you can decide, I do this and not that. Not because you've been taught to do it. Not because it's an automatic reaction from yourself. No, not because you just think with your prejudice that it is like this. No, because you decide that it is like this. If you decide it, then you are free. You are free to think everything that you want to do. In our case, it was exactly the same thing. We had to change paradigms. We had to change our mindset. Every crisis during 15 years was an opportunity to take another direction, another level, like in a balloon. In a balloon, when you drop ballast, you change altitude, and you find another wind that has another direction. The ballast, that's the habits. It's the certitudes. It's the paradigms, the dogmas, the exclamation marks, the convictions. Everything that makes us heavy, that makes us static. When we dropped it, we could find completely other ways to do. And in terms of changing paradigm, for the environment, this is very important also. That was, as you've seen in the film, the goal of Solar Impulse. Bring the message that clean technologies and renewable energies can achieve absolutely impossible things in a profitable way. And this is another level. This is, for us, a very, very important paradigm shift. Up to now, the protection of the environment was something absolutely necessary, but horribly expensive, and asking a lot of sacrifice to the population, less mobility, less consumption, less comfort. Who wants that? No one. Because the population wants better, they don't want less. So for us, it was very interesting to see we end up with a success. We have Solar Impulse ready to go in a museum. And what do we do with the success? Well, success, we also have to speak about success, not only failure. Success is not a goal in itself. Success is a step to go further. Success is what gives you the credibility, what gives you the recognition, what gives you the power to go to the next level. This is why in Abu Dhabi, when the team was there, when the airplane was there, when we had succeeded in front of all the media of the entire world, we had this banner here, take it further. Take it further. And this is what we are doing now with the Solar Impulse Foundation. This is our dream today. This is our goal. This is what we put all our energy on. This is our paradigm shift. Identify 1,000 solutions around the world that can protect the environment in an absolutely economically profitable way. In other words, how can you identify which are the new process, products, clean technologies, different ways to produce, transport, and consume energy that will at the same time protect the environment and create jobs, make money, and sustain growth. But a clean growth that is much better than the dirty status quo of today. And this paradigm shift is very important. We have to speak the language of the people we want to convince. Going to climate change deniers, or even coming to big CEOs who have 100,000 salaries to pay at the end of the month, and tell them you have to change everything because you have to protect the environment, it is wishful thinking. It doesn't work. But if you go to them and you say, you know, we have a way today to make more money, to create more jobs, to have a better growth. And these are all the technologies that have appeared in the last years in a profitable way to protect the environment, then I believe that we can create a huge movement that will bring the startups together, that will bring corporations together, that will bring environmentalists together, but also financial investors. So this is the goal with the Solar Impulse Foundation, to have this portfolio of 1,000 solutions and go back to all the heads of states and tell them, look, this is the way to make, these are the tools, I would say, more than the way to, the tools to have much more ambitious energy policies and environmental targets. So each one has his dream, you see. You have yours, we have ours, but they usually aim for a better world with different ways, altitudes, directions. But there is one thing in common in what you do, what I do, and what other people do. We must be able, like on this picture here, to go beyond the obvious. This is the last picture I did 20 years ago when I flew around the world non-stop in a balloon. It's the porthole of the cabin, the window. It is frozen by the moisture of the night. And on the other side, you have a rising sun. But you will never see the sun if you don't first go through the ice. And ice we have all the time in life. We have problems, difficulties, crises, whatever, setbacks. And some people believe, too many people I would say believe, that it is better to suffer in the ice they know rather than to cross the ice and see what there is on the other side. So it's clear that each time we have ice in our life and we refuse it, we refuse to go through the ice, we will lose the possibility of an adventure. The crisis we refuse remains a crisis, but the crisis we accept becomes an adventure. A fantastic adventure that will require from us all our resources, all our confidence, all our courage, everything we can put together, all the relations we can create with other people to make a team, to make a community, and at the end, to succeed. So this is what I wish really for all of you. I think this afternoon I will have 1 or 2 sessions with part of the group of the Global Shapers, so we can go a little bit deeper into all these topics. But this is what I'm really happy that I could share with your entire group, and I wish you a lot of success for the future. You do a great job. I admire that young people take it so seriously to change the world, to shape the world, and thank you for what you are doing. You are great. Thank you very much.